This is Lynn Fraser. I work with Scott Killaby. He developed a method called natural rest. You can read more about that in his book, Natural Rest for Addiction. One of the key elements is working with thought by observation. It's a mindfulness practice. And we do the same with our breath and our body. We rest with what is, observing, watching what it is that's coming and going. The key with thought, and we'll get into this more in the guided practice, is that for a moment, we just watch and see what happens when we're paying attention to thought arising. And notice that thought comes in when it does, as words and images. Might be a voice that we hear kind of in our head. It's not exactly like hearing a sound in the world, but we can hear the words. We can see images often. Some thoughts are quite neutral. They don't really gather a response with them. Other thoughts, like a fond memory or thinking of someone we love, might bring a feeling of warmth and connection. We feel that in our body as well. Some thoughts have a negative charge to them. They trigger us in some way, and often we get off into a train of thought with positive and negative thoughts. So the practice of natural rest with our thoughts is that we observe them. They have whatever life they have. They might get into a train of thoughts for a moment. As soon as we notice that, we come back, we're paying attention, we let them dissolve, and then we rest our attention in the gap. At some point, another thought will come up. We observe. We rest our attention in the silence or the gap between that and the next thought. It's a practice that we carry into the day with us. We'll do a guided practice now, and then take this practice out into the day, just for a moment, several times during the day. Bring your attention to your thoughts. Watch and see the first one that comes in. Let it dissolve. Rest your attention in the silence between that and the next thought. Doing this on a regular basis transforms our mind. For this guided practice, feel free to lie down. If you're comfortable on the floor, make sure that you're going to be warm enough. The body gets kind of cool sometimes when we're lying still like that. If you're sitting, sit in a way that's comfortable for you. And then bring your attention inward. Withdraw your attention from other times, other places. Bring your attention inside to your internal experience. Be aware of your body, the space your body is occupying, and what's going on in that space. Notice that there's movement of the body with the breath. There's sense perceptions that are happening. There's the feeling of clothes and air on our skin. We can feel where we're connected with the environment. If we're sitting, if we're lying down, notice where you're connected and what that feels like. We feel sensations in the immediate vicinity of our body, usually right inside of our body. We feel the connection of the air on our skin right at the edge or the boundary of our body. And we also have sounds in the room. There might be airflow. Take a moment to notice what's happening around you. And notice if there's anything of concern. Is there anything that could be dangerous? Is there anything in the room or the space around you that you need to pay attention to during the practice? You might need to guard yourself from something. And if that's a no, if there's nothing that you need to worry about in your environment, then you could allow yourself to settle and go off guard. Your system will alert you if something changes. This is just a reassurance. There's nothing going on right now. I don't need to have my shoulders up around my ears. I don't need to be protecting myself. Let your whole body relax into the support of the floor or the chair. And notice what's happening in that space of your body. There's the sense perceptions. If you have your eyes open, you can see around you there's things in the room. Your brain will interpret what's going on in the room through sight, just as it does through sound. When you have your eyes closed, our sense perceptions are limited more to touch, texture. Bring your attention inside your body and notice what's happening in that internal space. We have physical processes that go on in that space. There's certainly the breath. The body moves with the breath. Air is coming in and out of the lungs. It's flowing through the nose. We might notice something going on in our digestion. And there are also energies and sensations and feelings in the body that aren't strictly physical. When you think of someone you love, that warmth in your heart isn't really muscles and nerves. There's an energetic quality to it. So notice right now what's happening energetically in your body. Take a slow scan from the top of your head down through your face, the interior of your head, your neck and throat, down through your chest, the area protected by your rib cage, the heart center, your stomach area, navel center, lower belly, through your arms and hands, through your legs and down through to your feet. Be aware of your whole body from head to toes. Allow yourself to relax into the support that you have. If it's the floor or a flat surface, you can relax completely. You don't need any muscle activity at all. If you're sitting upright, you don't need your shoulders to keep yourself upright. You can allow them to soften and relax. You can allow the muscles of the stomach to relax. It's just the core muscles we need to keep ourselves upright. Notice what it is that's in this space of the body. Part of the experience is that we have thoughts about what it is that we are observing. And we also often have thoughts that are unrelated. During the practice, see if you can keep your attention on the related thoughts. And notice how a thought might come up. Oh, my jaw feels kind of tight. And then notice if that just dissolves and you can rest in the gap there. Sometimes it might spin off into a story about that, a memory of holding back, clenching our teeth, and not letting something be said. During an inquiry practice, we would be looking at those words and pictures. And during a resting practice, we can too, but it's more that we're sitting with the thought, we're noticing that it's coming up. If it's something significant, we might file it away later to look at later. And right now, the intention is to rest. So we're letting that thought come up, letting it dissolve, and then resting in the space. Take a few deeper breaths. Let your body relax as you breathe out. It's a natural function of the body to relax as we exhale. When we first start noticing our breath or paying attention to our breath, we often notice that there are patterns of tightness in the breath. When we're anxious in particular, we might be holding our breath, we breathe in, and then we don't really let it out right away. And if we have that happen a lot, if we're under stress a lot, then we might have developed a habitual pattern of that. One of the opportunities we have now is to let our breath relax, become continuous and more smooth. Tune into your breath pattern for now. Exhale, let your exhalation be smooth. And then, as soon as you finish breathing out, let yourself move right into the inhalation. As soon as you finish the inhalation, let it go into the exhalation. The key to the breath is that we work with effortlessness. We don't need to try to make the breath a certain length. We just relax our body, let the body take over the pattern and the rhythm of our breath for a while again. And when we do that, it automatically softens and relaxes. Just noticing that, staying in tune with the breath. Exhale and keep your attention on the breath, moving right into the inhalation. As soon as you're finished inhaling, let your breath go. Let that transition be smooth and effortless. You could be focusing on the flow of air as it flows through your nostrils. It feels cooler as you breathe in. There's more warmth and moisture in the breath as you breathe out after it's been warmed by our body. Notice as you're breathing in, if you can feel it through the back of the mouth and down to the throat a little bit. There's a bit of coolness to the breath. We can feel that. Let yourself relax so the body can move freely with the breath. And bring your attention back to thoughts in the mind. Keep your attention focused on the practice. Right now, that's the breath. The stomach muscles lengthen as we breathe in and release and soften as we breathe out. Anchor your attention to that for a minute. Really focus on that softening as we breathe out. Everything relaxes, settles back towards the spine. If your thoughts have wandered off into something else, gently bring them back. We're not giving ourselves a hard time when the mind wanders off. That's the nature of that part of the mind. We're just refocusing. Exhale and soften. Inhale, let your breath be a bit deeper. See if you can feel the lower rib cage opening as you're breathing in. And as soon as you're finished your inhalation, let it go into the exhale. Smooth, even, continuous breath. Let your attention rest in the space where there is no thought. And then a thought will arise, perhaps. Maybe it's a train of thought, maybe it's just one. Keep your attention on it. You're looking at the thoughts, you're not absorbed in them. Notice how it appears, if there's sound, words, images. Notice if there's a response in your body. Some thoughts trigger an energetic response in our body. And then let it dissolve. Let your attention rest there. And then bring your attention now to your forehead and your eyebrows. If you like, you could raise your eyebrows up and then let them release. Notice if there's any tightness, any contraction at all in your eyebrows, like you're worried. We do that sometimes. Allow that whole area to soften from the center out to the temples, the hairline to the eyebrows. And as you breathe out, allow it to soften a little bit more. Use our facial muscles to communicate with people, and we're not doing that right now. So we could allow them all to relax. Notice the sensation, how it changes in a subtle way as we relax the forehead. And notice thought again, it's right behind the forehead. Notice what's happening in your thought stream. We're not paying attention so much to the content of thought, we're paying attention more to the process of how it rises and then it dissolves. We're really focusing on that space or the gap where there is no thought, putting our attention on that, allowing it to lengthen. Allow your thoughts to be at rest. And bring your attention down now again into your nose. Notice the flow of air. Notice if you can feel it in the back of your mouth and in your throat. And then relax the whole area of the mouth. We have the faculty of speech. It happens through the mouth and the jaw, the tongue, the vocal cords down into the throat. And since we're not talking, allow that whole mechanism to relax and go off duty. There's nothing we need to say, there's nothing that needs to be held back. Relax the hinges of your jaw. You could move your lower jaw. Make sure that there's a bit of space between the upper jaw and the lower jaw so there's no clenching. If thoughts arise in the mind, we're watching them, we're not getting involved in them. And if we get involved, bring your attention back, not a problem. Relax the corners of your mouth. Notice the space above your tongue. Notice any energy or sensation in the mouth or the jaw, as well as the physical sense perceptions of your mouth. Bring your attention down into your throat, the front of your neck, the sides of your neck and your shoulders, the back of the neck, the top of the shoulders, and the large muscles of the upper back. If there's any activation, there's any shoulders up towards the ears, so common in our regular life, then allow that to settle and relax away. Unless there's something that we need to brace ourselves for or protect ourselves from, we don't need to have our shoulders activated. We can let our back relax. Notice the space of the neck and the throat. There might be energy or sensation there. If that's the case, notice the sensation. Notice the space all around the sensation. Sensations might really grab our attention, but they don't go on forever. There's always a boundary or an edge. Notice where you feel sensation and notice where you don't anymore. Notice the space around it. A bit of our attention is still on the breath, that smooth continuity of breath. We're watching thoughts as they come and go in the mind, really focusing on the space or the gap between thoughts. Bring your attention to the back of your body. Notice again where you're connected with the environment that you're in. Let yourself settle into that support. There's so many layers of tension that can be in our body. As you exhale, let that relax. And then as you inhale, keep your mind centered on anything that's still feeling a bit tight. Exhale, let it soften some more. Inhale, maintain that level of softness or relaxation with your concentration on that area. And as you exhale, it'll soften some more. It's a natural function of our body to relax on the exhalation. And many of us have a habit of contracting on the inhalation. As you exhale, notice the softness and the relaxation. And as you inhale, allow that in breath to come in without tightness. You don't have to bring your shoulders up, you don't have to tighten your face. Relax, and then maintain that relaxation on the inhale. Notice your whole body, how your body's moving with the breath. Notice what's happening in your thoughts. When we're compulsive or worried about something, our thoughts will often be more intrusive. If that's the case, we're going to find more wandering off going on. So we might have to bring ourselves back over and over and over again. See if you can do that with kindness. It's just part of the function of the mind. It's not as relaxing as a quieter mind. It's not preferred. And that's just how it happens sometimes. Notice if your mind is starting to settle. We withdraw our mind, our attention from the external world right now. We can anchor our attention into this moment through our body and our breath, through noticing what's happening in our body and breath. We can rest our attention there. From that attention in the back of the neck and shoulders down through the muscles of the upper back. Notice how when you breathe deeply, you might be able to feel the breath in the lower rib cage, the back and the sides. Same effortless, smooth, continuous breath. Notice the muscles of the stomach area, of the chest, the rib cage, and the area that's protected by the rib cage. If there's any tightness in the stomach area, bring your attention there on the exhalation. Allow that to soften. That allows the breath to move more deeply, more freely. Let yourself enjoy this practice of breathing and attending to your breath. Notice the sensation of your body moving, the stretching on the inhale, the softening and release on the exhale. And notice thought. The mind might be quite quiet, and then we can really rest our attention in the stillness. If there are a lot of thoughts in the mind, we have to be more vigilant in our observation so that we don't get carried away into trains of thought so much. Either way, put your attention on the stillness. Notice the space in which all of this is coming and going. Sensations, feelings are arising in the space of our body. What is it that never changes? What is not disturbed by what it is that's coming and going? Focus there. When something comes up that takes your attention away, observe what that is. If it's thought, maybe it's a train of thought, and notice that and let the thought come to a rest. Focus on the space, on the silence there. Some of our attention is on the body, the whole body from head to toes. Some of it's on the movement of our body with our breath. Use that to anchor your attention into this moment in time. And notice what it is that's coming and going. And notice the space itself. Let yourself rest there. Set your intention to come back to this stillness, to this rest as you move through your day. And when you're ready, open your eyes. When we have our eyes open, there's the visual input comes in now. See if you can remain aware Remain in touch with your whole body, with your breath, with this relaxation and the rest, even with the eyes open. Take a moment before we finish to watch thought again. Notice what thought comes in. Take that perspective of the observer or the watcher. Let it dissolve. Rest your attention in the space. Do that frequently through the day. Thank you for being here.